Hello and welcome back to another ITH video. Now, next to me I have the Toyota Supra GR A90 Launch Edition. Very long name, very nice car though. Now this is a car I have been very excited about driving ever since it first appeared as a concept car sometime back in the dark ages. But before I do get into reviewing it, there are two small points. Firstly, I'm reviewing this car as a Toyota Supra, nothing else. I shall not be mentioning, other than right now, a particular German manufacturer with a three-letter acronym as its name, because frankly that's been done to death and I want to just appreciate this car and review it as a Toyota. The second point is, of course, the eagle-eyed among you will have noticed the number plate on this car, and yes, before you ask, it is Shmee150’s car. As he was jetting off around the world doing his content, he was very kind enough to lend me this to review. So thank you very much to Shmee150, and let's get on with the review. Now, where to start with this car? If you saw the, I believe it was the FT1 or something concept car from sometime back in the dark ages, as I said before, it was a really seriously awesome looking concept car. Now, most of the front end of this has been carried over from that in sort of. I'll give it a sort of. It's got the same general theme. You've got the big vent area at the front. You've got the pointy F1 style nose. It's a bit toned down, and that is generally how the whole car is from that concept car, but that's what happens in the real world. You can't make crazy bonkers supercars that look like that unless they cost millions of pounds. The other thing is they had to stretch this particular body style over another chassis. So what we've got at the front here are a couple of set of massive, truly enormous headlights. They stretch. I mean, this is a pretty sizable headlight unit here, but inside you've got the LED headlight units, DRLs running down here. You've got all these like winglet bits here sticking up. I believe most of the aero is actually real and actually does something, which is always handy. There are some really lovely touches when it comes to the styling on this car. But on this bonnet, there is the most beautiful crease line, which comes down here, and it's absolutely lovely. And it catches the light at various angles, and yes, big fan of that. Something else I'm a big fan of is this double bubble roof. Now, Zagato do this, and you're going to get it on a 50 grand sports car. Nice. But either way, it adds with the airflow, which takes air down the centre of the car over to the rear ductile spoiler. And it also just looks pretty damn cool, you know, and what's more important than that? And moving back, my favourite aspect from this sort of shot that you've got there are these, look at these rear haunches. There is actually a crease line here as well, very faint, but it is in there. I mean, look at the girth on these rear arches. And believe it or not, lots of people tend to put wide arch kits on these as well, which makes them look even wider. So there are my positives, okay? They're my positives about this car. There are some negatives, looking at the styling. There's a fake vent here, there's a fake vent here, and there's a fake vent here. Now, this is a fake vent. Now, nothing comes in here at all. But what I've been told is that actually under this vent here, and under this vent here, and around this vent here, there are actual holes that go through. There's a hole here that vents pressure from the front wheel arch. There's a gap here which can duct air through to the brakes, and this one goes through to, I believe, the rear brakes. So they are there. But Toyota say you just don't need them on this model, which means there's probably going to be a hotter version, or they're going to sell you some GR parts. GR, Gazoo Racing, they're going to offer some parts for these, I believe, that are not fake vents, which will make them look 10 times better, but they'll probably be carbon and will probably cost millions and millions of pounds. I wish they weren't fake. I wish they'd just put them on and let people have extra airflow, even if they didn't need it, because those look really naff to me. Another weird oddity on this car is this fuel filler cap, right? There it is. It's got this really deep recess into here, and to be honest, it just looks a bit weird. Nothing wrong with it though, still works. Now, of course, this is the A90 launch edition that Mr. Tim Burton Shmee150 got. You can't actually get this anymore because what that's got, there was only 25, I believe, in the UK. Now, that gave you this rather delicious satin grey paint, red bits on the calipers, and the wheels are all satin black. Now, on the standard GR Pro Supra that you can get, which is about £54,000 in the UK, that has slightly naffer two-tone wheels, which have got like a chromy bits on the spoke. Don't really like them. This is a very, very rare example where I prefer the satin black wheel. I know, wonders will never cease. Yes, now colour-wise, you can get yellow, which is standard, and if you don't get yellow, you're an idiot because it looks absolutely brilliant. Then I believe the solid red is £625, and there are a few sort of blacks, greys, whites and blues in a metallic, which are £710. But that's it. That's the only set of options you can get on this car, is you can just choose what paint you want, which I think is brilliant and is generally the way things are going in the industry at the moment. Right, now at the back of the Supra, now for me this is definitely the best view you can have of this car. It just shows off all of the utterly mental lines and bulges and curves and swoops and things that it has. I mean, it's an orgy of things for the eye to take in. It really is. Again, I've mentioned them before, these bonkers wheel arches here. You've still got the double bubble roof coming down, and it all tapers into this sort of tight, pert little weird back end that it's got. You've got this, I think, absolutely fantastic ducktail spoiler, which when you stand from this sort of angle looking down, you'd expect it to be a really kind of pointy wing type thing. As you get on the side, you notice it's actually completely flat at the back. It's a weird, it's like I said, there are just curves and angles and surfaces like I've never seen on a production car before. You can stare at this thing from a million different angles and you'll see a completely different car every time. You look all the way down here and you notice the rear lights are so sharp and pointed and stick out a huge amount. You wouldn't really notice that from the back normally. But anyway, fantastic. Things that I love. The badge, same as on the old Mark IV Supra and I believe the Mark III. So it's the same font, looks brilliant, lovely little retro nod there. This is like on a Formula One car, which of course is cool. And you've got two big exhaust cannons on the back, nice stainless steel tips on them. This is quite a nice diffuser as well. It actually looks like it's doing something for a purpose, which I like. Yeah, and there's another fake vent here, but I've already gone on about that enough. So basically, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, onto the interior of this Supra. Now, this being the launch edition car, it's got some really funky stuff in it that makes it look a lot better than the normal one would, I think. That includes this red leather interior, which is full red leather, and then red leather on the steering wheel, and the driver's door panel is red leather, but it's black leather on the passenger side. That's just a little Japanese quirk, I think, that they like to put in these things. On the standard GR Pro, not the standard model, on the GR Pro, which is 54 grand, that gets black heated leather seats. Now, speaking of the fact that it's £54,000, you could also get one for a lot cheaper. Now, as always, we've got to say a huge thank you to BOTB for making these videos possible. And you could go over to BOTB, get some tickets for a very, very small amount, and you could win a Toyota GR Pro Supra. It could be on your driveway for a couple of pounds, and you would be very, very happy when my man Christian turns up at your door and surprises you on a Tuesday morning. So you only have to be 16 or over to play. It's a worldwide competition. There are actually over 150 cars to play for, even if you don't want to play for this Supra. So yeah, give it a shot. Kit on this Supra is bonkers. The GR Pro, the only options you've got are, I mean, there are some things like, I don't know, like a first aid kit or whatever, but there's basically the external paint. That is it. You get, now I'm going to have to look at a list here because it's rather expansive. You've got full, I don't know what they call it now, a driver assist suite. So you've got adaptive cruise control, all your blind spot monitoring and all that nonsense, which frankly is, I'm not a huge fan of it. But anyway, adaptive cruise control is very useful and it works very, very well on this car. It brings you back up to speed very quickly, of which I'm a big fan. We have the 8.8-inch touchscreen up there, which has got all your nav and everything built in, and you can use CarPlay and all that kind of junk. Just ahead of the gear lever, you've got a wireless charging pad, which is very useful. Head-up display up here, which is brilliant. I've been using this obviously the whole time, and it's ace. It's a really, really good one. There's a JBL sound system, which has got speakers like here, there, and there's two massive speakers on the rear shelf there below what looks like a strut brace. Rear view camera, and pretty much I think that's it. I mean, obviously you've got all the steering wheel controls. You've got actual dials, which I'm a big fan of, as I've said previously. We need to get back into the car, and that's where I'm going to show you one of the big problems. Oh, every time, look at that. Look at my head whacking into this A-pillar and roofline. Once I'm in, absolutely tons of room. I mean, look at that. Oh, it's very, very annoying. I don't quite know if I could live with it, to be honest, because it makes this whole aperture here really, really small. And it's a big, big shame because, frankly, it's design over usability. It's form over function, which really doesn't sit very well with me. When it comes to the seating position, I mean, there's about 6 million options for changing the way this seat hugs you and grasps you, and it is very comfy. Big fan of this seat. And it's got Isofix mounts on the passenger seat, which is a big, big win for me because it meant that my 7-year-old could go in it with me the other day and she absolutely loved it. And of course, we have to talk about the boot space. It's got a big space inside, but a fairly small opening thanks to the way that the rear haunches come over and the way the whole design takes over. You're going to be able to carry a lot, but you have to sort of post it all into the various spaces. Okay, so let's look under the bonnet. Oh, that's depressing. Yeah, there's just a big sea of plastic, as there always is nowadays. Seriously, manufacturers, can you make it a bit more exciting, please? Otherwise, no one's going to ever open the bonnet. Oh, so I'm just going to close it. Right, so under this gargantuan, curvaceous bonnet, there is a 3-litre twin-scroll, single-turbo, straight-six engine. Now, this puts out 335 brake horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. It does about 34-ish miles per gallon and 170 grams per kilometre of CO2. That's just pretty much the same as most of the cars in this class. Now, one thing, it powers to the rear wheels only. There is an active differential down there via an 8-speed ZF auto box, which you can flick with the paddles. All very standard stuff, all very nice to use. And there's also adaptive suspension. But frankly, you don't want to know any more about this, me waffling on about this car on the outside and inside and bits and bobs. You want to know what it's like to drive. So I'm going to do exactly that. Yeah, so how is this thing to drive? Toyota have done a really good job. I won't say it's the absolute last word in driver feedback. You can definitely feel that this car weighs a fair bit. I mean, it's a bit more than a normal hatchback, you know, it's got a bit of heft to it. But once you sort of settle into the car and you learn the way that it goes about things, it will surprise you, actually. First of all, it's really, really fast. I mean, this has only got 40 horsepower more than my Leon Cupra, despite weighing around the similar sort of amount. And oh, it is a lot quicker. This is a lot quicker than my Cupra, by a measure of a lot. So, frankly, I don't believe that this has got 335 horsepower. I mean, yes, it's set up a lot more aggressively, but wow. Now, I've got it in sport mode at the moment, so everything is a little bit tauter, as it should be. Oh, it sounds nice. I'll give it that. It sounds very, very good indeed. a screaming straight six that I absolutely love. So if you look at the actual performance stats, I mean 0 to 62 comes up in 4.3 seconds, which is, it's fast. Okay, it's a fast car. Because it's a proper sports car, you're sitting very low to the ground, and as much as I don't like it when I get in and out, this does make the whole thing feel a lot more enclosed and a lot sportier and a bit more severe, you know, like you're really in a proper car. So everything feels a little faster. So this tops out at 155, which is more than fast enough. So one thing I really like about this car is it really inspires you with confidence. It's something to do with the size. It's not a big car, and it all feels very solid, you know. It feels like it's not going to try and kill you. I mean, it's only 4.5 degrees out right now, and I've got no issues putting down the power at all. You barrel into a corner, tip it in, no understeer, no oversteer, just absolutely gripped and went, and that was quite a wet corner as well. It's one of those cars that the more you grab it by the scruff of the neck and the more you play with it like that there, the more you play with it and the more you kind of throw it around, the more it surprises you, the more it absolutely delights you as a driver. Oh, yes. I know I've said quite a few times that there's nothing better than a hot hatch for throwing down a country lane. With the death of the old BMW M140i, you don't get a hot hatch with a 6-cylinder engine anymore. You can get the RS3, which has got that lovely 5-pot, but now it's just a sea of 4-pot, 4-cylinder, turbocharged blare. As much as I love them, they don't have the character that this engine has got. And that is a real shame, because if you put an engine like this in one of my favourite little hot hatches or something, God, it would be immeasurably better. But yeah, that's what somewhere that the A110 and the 718 Cayman really fall down, actually, is in engine note. They're 4 cylinders. They just cannot match that beautiful, sonorous wail, oh, that this gets. It's a very, very nice noise. The TTRS is the only one that comes close to this much of a vocal engine, and yeah, it's something special. Take it out of sport and you can instantly feel everything's a lot softer. It's slowing the gears a bit more. Steering's slightly less direct, I think. And yeah, it's definitely absorbing all these bumps a lot better. And yeah, it's a really comfortable thing. So what do I think about the Toyota Supra GR? It's a tricky one, to be honest. I absolutely did enjoy this car. I loved driving it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. The performance is fantastic, but there are a few irritating things. The packaging is very annoying, and you really can feel its weight and its heft as you chuck it down a road. I mean, some like that, some don't. The problem is, this is a very busy marketplace that it's in. Around this 50 to 60,000 pound range, you've got the Porsche 718 Cayman S. Yes, it's only got a 4-cylinder engine, but I mean, it's a Cayman. You struggle to get much better in terms of the quality and the driving experience. You've got the exceptional Alpine A110, or even the S at this sort of price point. And that is a scalpel compared to this car. It is lightweight, it's deft, and it's fantastic. Then you've also got the Audi TT-RS. I mean, that is a blunderbuss. You're talking 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive. Not much can cross a country quicker than that in awful weather, and it's got fantastic practicality. So there's a lot to offer out there. Would I go for the Supra? I don't think I would, to be honest. I think I would go for the Alpine A110. It definitely just suits my type of driving a bit better. If it's a fun toy with 2 seats that I'm going to get, then it's going to be the Alpine for me. So there we go. So once again, I've got to thank 2 different people. I've got to thank Shmee150 for lending us this car, because it's just brilliant, and thank you very much. But also don't forget BOTB. You can go and you can win a car every single week with BOTB, and there are 150, 160 cars to play for. The tickets start from just 85p, so go and check them out. And there are plenty more videos to come on the ITH channel, so if you're not subscribed already, why not? Frankly, we're brilliant. So go on, subscribe, hit the like button because it does all the good things for us, and we'll see you in the next video. Hello, welcome back to another... Try again, when I'm not being a spaz. Hello and welcome back to another ITH video, and next to me I have got the Toyota